this one is a little bit special today. I've got someone amazing joining me, Gemma, aka the Beauty Boss
Hello.
Accountant. Now, listen, if you've ever looked at your finances and thought, what the hell am I doing? Or panicked to the word HMRC, this one is definitely for you. We're keeping it super chill today. No boring accountant chat, just real talk. Someone in your corner who knows the numbers, and honestly, it's a game changer when you're self-employed in the beauty industry. So let's get stuck in. Gemma, welcome. I'm absolutely
Hello,
buzzed
thank
to
you
have
for
you
having
here
me.
today. Let's introduce yourself.
So my name's Gemma. I am the founder, the owner, the everything for the Beauty Boss Accountant. I have got two accountancy practices. One is just your standard accountancy practice that I've had for 12 years. And I look after anything from, plumbers to taxi drivers to dog groomers. And I started the Beauty Boss Accountant 2 years ago, and I wanted to have a niche, and I understood that there was a need for someone like me who would just specialize in hair, beauty, aesthetic, obviously accounting, because the feedback that I got from so many of my clients that were in obviously the beauty industry was that a lot of accountants just don't understand the industry. And they don't want to, I'll be honest with you. They just see it as, oh, it's not a real career, it's not this. And I think that was really, really terrible way of, people having a business and not being able to think, oh God, have I got a good business? Well, and it was really negative. Do you know what I mean? So that's when I realised there was a little opening in the market for someone like me to come in and just specialise in that area. And it has been amazing. I mean, I've been doing it for 2 years now. I've now got a team of 7 that work for the Beauty Boss Accountant. So it's really grown. And through me obviously collabing with you and other industry sort of leaders and things, I've kind of getting my brand out there and getting more bigger and bigger and bigger, which is amazing because the word is spreading about me. As you can see, or as you can tell, I'm very down to earth. I'm not your typical accountant, which has really done me well. It's my unique selling point. I'm heavily tattooed. I don't talk posh. I'm very straight John Ball, straight to the point. You know what I mean? But I'm also really approachable. And that's what I really love about me. And I've never changed that. No matter how successful I have been within my career in business, it's always been important to me to stay true to who I am, which is proud northerner, grew up on a council estate, had to have beans on toast every night for me tea growing up, and didn't get anything other than birthdays and Christmases, that's me. And I've always been really proud of that and never change. People ask me all the time, oh, like, what do you do for a job? If you get talking to people, they say, they're like, oh, really? Like, really shocked because, like, you take one look at me and you wouldn't think that. So that's me, really, really down to earth. I love what I do, really passionate about my business, really passionate about supporting obviously women in business. That's a big thing for me as well. I'm really passionate about obviously women's health as well in regards to running a business. That's something that I'm really, really passionate about because it can really affect things, if our women's health isn't, it's not great in this country, let's be honest. So I am a big advocate for that, and women being more gentle on themselves during that time of the month and stuff like that. I'm huge on that. I am a PMDD sufferer, so I get it really bad. So I know that I have to, 2 weeks of the month, I'm great. I'm in my creative flow. I'm putting content out. I'm doing this. Another 2 weeks, you're going to get a complete different version of Gemma, and that's when I don't necessarily put a lot of pressure on myself and just take things a little bit easier. I know that's not okay for everyone to do that. Not everyone can do that. But like I say, I'm going on a bit of a tangent about it, but I am really passionate about it. I think it's really important for women to understand that you don't have to be Wonder Woman every single day of the week.
That is so true, though. I feel like we don't give ourselves enough credit sometimes, and
Yeah.
people always like, bloody hell, how do you do all that all the time? And like, you're running this, you're doing that, and you're like, because I have to. I have to
Yeah.
just keep going. Women don't
Yeah.
get to just stop at the end of the day, especially when
No.
we've got kids involved and you run a business, or you've got a house to run. Like, people don't realise how much we actually do.
No, I think women are, and like I say, back in the day, it was more that I'm talking like obviously lots of years ago.
Mm.
The men were the main breadwinners,
Yes.
and the women stopped at home, and that worked for a long time. But now things are different, and women sometimes are the main breadwinners now. I'm like that in my marriage. I'll be honest with you, it's things have changed, haven't they? And but then we still, on top of running a business and being independent, we still have children and still to be a mother or do the womanly duties as what they're perceived as that the women should
Pink
be in
jobs
the
or the blue
household
jobs.
and doing this and doing, you know what I mean? Yeah. Do you know what I mean? It's still very much like that, isn't it? So but yeah, we do have a lot on our plates, and for me personally, I've got obviously my business, I've got my family, and I've also got my actual family, like obviously like my brother heavily
Mhm.
relies on me for a lot of things as well. So it's not just your immediate family and your business, you've got other things going on and people obviously rely on you. And
Yeah.
sometimes if you're not present, like, where is she? What's going on? Like, she's always there. And sometimes I'm like, you just give me a break, just leave me alone.
That. It is sometimes I'm just like, look, guys, I'm just gonna disappear in a hole for a few days. I'm like, hi,
Yeah.
I'm back.
I do that actually. Yeah, sometimes I just have to because it's just that much. So yeah, I think it's good to talk about these things. It's good
Mhm.
to acknowledge it, and then people that are listening can say, oh, God, it's not just me that feels like this. It's
Yeah.
not just it is a lot of like you'll look on Instagram or on social media, you'll see, oh God, she's doing this and she's doing that, and she's got everything, she's got a life together. Behind the scenes, it is, I can tell you from experience, and I went to an event yesterday and talking to some big hitters in the beauty industry on Instagram or whatever, it looks like everything's perfect, but that's all they're showing. They're not showing the behind the scenes of you've got the kids to sort out, your husband, you've had a row with your husband, or someone's ill at work, someone's wrong and sick, or whatever it may be. There's always something that's going on behind the scenes that you don't necessarily see. So I think it's always worth just, if you're having a bad day, it's fine. It's probably a million other people having a bad day as well. So it's all right. And we all haven't got our shit together. Do you know what I mean? So sometimes it's,
Exactly.
do you know what I mean? I'll be honest, it's, sometimes we do just muddle through on some days, and that's okay. That's okay to be like that. So it's important that if you're just starting out in business or you're a veteran business owner, it's okay to have ebbs and flows in business because it's going to happen, isn't it? You can't always say everything's going to be perfect because life isn't perfect, is it? Some of the times.
Oh God, 100%. Like life's never perfect. There's always something going on. And I have days where I'm literally like, do you know what? Not going to put any makeup on, not even going to do my hair, just going to put my
Yeah,
gym clothes on and I'm going to just slob it today because I can't function. My brain is so overwhelmed and I'm like,
yeah,
no, not today. And then I have other days where it's all figured out. I get up early, I go to the gym, I sort the kids out, I do all of the things. I'm working back to back, and by the end of the day, I'm like, oh, I'm knackered. Do you know what?
yeah,
I can't do with the socials today. Or it's like 10 o'clock at night, and I'm going, oh crap, I've not posted anything today. Quick, boom, boom,
yeah,
boom. And that's because my
yeah.
brain's constantly going. But I think some people really don't give themselves credit. And like you say, follow social media. Not everything is sunshine and flowers at the end of the day. Like behind the scenes, so much happens. And this is what I want to kind of bring to the world. I feel like I'm not an aesthetically pleasing person. Like I'm not this like clean girl aesthetic. That's just not me. I'm just a bit. And I just think, no, I want to get my ideal clients are people that are just normal people who like things that aren't perfect or that clean girl's aesthetic. It's just not me. I don't wear beige. I wear black most days, pink, I like skulls. I like, I like weird stuff.
Yeah.
And that's the people I want to kind of like help because there's so many people out there that are too scared to go after their dreams because they think, but look how perfect they look. No one's perfect.
Oh God, yeah, I'm seriously working on that permanently within myself. So
Mm.
I've been, like I said, people look at me and probably look at my social media and go, oh my God, she's this powerhouse, she's this. That's all well and good, but sometimes, but I'm not going to lie to you. Say I've not sat at this desk and cried a million times, or
Oh,
I've
hundreds of
had a
times.
client that's been horrible, or I'm in bed and I can't be asked getting out, and I've had to drag myself to work, or I don't feel that I fit in sometimes with certain people and women because I don't look a certain way or I'm not a certain way. So I totally understand that, and it's all about confidence.
Oh,
It's
massively.
really, and again, it will always come back to, again, I keep about hormones and things like that. It's for me, for someone that's got PMDD, it plays a huge part of my
Mm.
life. But touch wood, it's all going to be sorted soon because I'm having an operation and I'm going to be the new Gem. I'm going to be the 2 week Gem for all the 4 weeks of the month. The 5 weeks, I'm going to be, yeah. So we'll see. We'll see.
Oh, I love that, honestly. You know what? The amount of women I know that have had to go and have like operations and stuff and had like hysterectomies and all
I'm
sorts of
having a
things
full
just because.
hysterectomy. I'm a
Yeah.
full hysterectomy, 2nd of July.
Oh, wow. Not long. But yeah, my friend's just literally gone back to work. She had 12 weeks off, I think it was. I mean, it's statutory sick pay is crap if you get it from the government.
I am obviously very lucky, but being like obviously a business owner, I'm able to take time off and still be
Yeah.
paid my salary.
When you are self-employed, 100%, this is what has kind of made me want to go into this sort of thing, like the money mindset, making sure that your finances are fine. Because
Yeah,
if you do have to take time off sick, you need to make sure that you're putting money aside for it. Because
absolutely.
I want to say she was only getting like £90 a week or something.
Yeah, I think it's gone at 116 quid a week. I think it is now. I
Yeah.
think for £118, maybe it's not a lot. It isn't. You know,
No.
especially if you've got mortgages, a mortgage, children, things like that. And to be honest now, not a lot of, if you are employed as well, to be honest with you, obviously sick pay is obviously rubbish, but it's exactly the same. So again, you're not, it's an issue. And I think
Mm.
a lot of women or anyone actually would be in a position to think, can I afford to have that time off work? And I think that is a terrible place to be. That what a world we live in where we're having to consider an operation that's going to help us, but then we're thinking, well, can I afford to have this time off work? Or that's why it's important to, easier said than done, have savings. But if you're self-employed, put money away. They say obviously make sure that you've got, what is it, 3 or 6 months worth of obviously income in
Mm.
your bank just in case, don't they? But I mean,
Can't do that.
really do that. I mean, I feel very lucky and very grateful, for my situation that I'm
Mm.
currently in. But it always hasn't been like that. So I'm coming from a place that I understand. I've fed my children and starved because I've had no money.
Mm.
I've had to sell things out of my house to be able to pay the rent or provide. Do you know what I mean? I've had a TV that you had to put pound coins into to be able to watch to pay it off. Things like that. So when I say that I've been there and I've struggled, I've lived in my car before. I've had nowhere to live. I've
Mm.
been homeless. I come from a place of extreme, obviously, gratitude and humble and but understanding that yes, it is easy for me to say I'm going to have 12 weeks off work. I've obviously paid for this operation myself. Obviously paid private for it, and I'm grateful for that. But not everyone can do that. So that's when
Mm.
I give advice and help. It's coming from a place of being really humble as well, and
Yeah.
obviously I understand. I'm a very understanding person when it comes to finances and money because it is a scary thing. A lot of people will like, oh my god, like get an email from me. Some people will have a meltdown. Do you know what I mean?
I know.
Yes, we get a letter from HMRC. It spirals them out of control, which I understand. Really,
Mm.
it can be because a lot of people bury their head in the sand as well. If they get a letter from HMRC, they just ignore it, and things like that. So I do understand. Problems that come with money,
Yes.
definitely.
Right, so shall we get started with some of these questions?
Yeah, it could be here all bloody day.
We could be. I love I love a little chin work me. Right, so let's start simple. So in plain
Yes.
English, what does sorry, let me start that again. Right, so why do self-employed beauty bosses like us actually need an accountant and what is the real benefit?
So coming from an accountant, how I run my business, coming from me, the benefit is that you've got someone that you can ask obviously questions, get advice from, We can give you tips on saving for your tax, obviously processes to track figures and to ensure that you are obviously including everything on your tax return or your accounts, and also make sure that you're claiming all your expenses that you're allowed to claim within your business, because if you're not doing that, then you're probably potentially going to pay more tax. So that is what, an accountant would do for you. They're also supposed to keep you compliant. So obviously, again, not claiming things that you shouldn't be claiming, making sure that you're filing things on time, ensuring that obviously tax, if you ask a tax question, that they're going to be able to help you, with that. No matter how small or how big it is, whatever it is, that you should be able to go to your accountant and ask questions, basically. You should be able to do that.
What's one of the biggest mistakes you see nail techs and beauty business owners make when they try and do everything themselves?
Okay, so I would say the biggest mistake would be claiming expenses that you're not allowed to put through. That can cause issues with HMRC. So if you're completing a tax return yourself, which you can do, and you're putting your income in, you've done that, you're putting your expenses through, but then you think, oh, I can claim for like these clothes that I've bought from Next, for example, but you actually can't. But you don't know that. So if you're putting it through on your tax return and you're claiming for whatever else it may be, and then HMRC want to look into your tax return, they open an inquiry and they see that you have overclaimed on expenses or they're not allowable, then they are then going to obviously calculate your tax return, and you could potentially have a higher tax bill and penalties as well. That's one of the biggest mistakes. Another one I would say is if somebody has got a business, but you're also employed as well, they tend to leave off the employment side of work on their tax returns, and it has to be included. So that's a mistake as well, because then again, you're underpaying tax, or you've not put your student loan on there. So again, that's another. So I would say that's the two biggest mistakes, that you're leaving information off or you're overclaiming on expenses. Definitely.
Yeah, I was going to say, because I used to work at a supermarket and I would have like my supermarket wage, what I earned that year, and then I put myself and put it together, and then I'm like, oh my God. But it means they know that you have two jobs. Like, why would you lie? They're not stupid.
Exactly. I say they know, HMRC know anyway. So it's, it's if you don't put that information down, they already know. So they are then going to recalculate your tax return. They are then going to put payments on account on there that you probably shouldn't have. And it can just, and then you get a letter through and you're like, oh my God, what's this? And it's like double the tax that you should have paid or things like that. And then you go into mass panic, and then trying to get in touch with HMRC is a completely different ball game as well, and trying to speak to somebody that's going to help you as well, because sometimes they're not very helpful. They must be getting millions of calls a day. Do you know what I mean? So it's tough for them, like it is for accountants, because if you've got an accountant, the accountant tends to get the brunt of the issue, for example. So HMRC do make mistakes. I've had it with clients. HMRC have obviously sent a letter, and I'm like, that's not right. But then the client thinks it's your fault, and it's all got a little bit out of hand until you really look into it. It's like, well, hang on a minute. This was sent on that day. HMRC have actually made a mistake, and then and to contact them it can get a bit of a nightmare, to be honest. So I think if you have got an accountant, it is gonna help with things, to try and stop any issues happening before it does. But that's not saying that if you have got an accountant or you haven't, issues can still happen with HMRC. It just comes with the territory. It's about how you deal with it. If there's a mistake that's been made on HMRC's part, yes, it can be rectified. If your accountant has obviously not filed something for whatever reason, they will then be able to rectify that. And if you've had a fine, they will probably, take that fine off you and pay it for you, or they'll appeal it. Every circumstance is obviously going to be different as well.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, just a question.
So, question 3, is there like a tipping point in business where you'd say now's the time to bring in an accountant, or should they be thinking about it from the get-go?
So again, that all depends on the person. All depends on if you are happy from the start, knowing that you registered your business correctly, whether you've created like a limited company is best for you, or whether you should be a sole trader, whether you should be a partnership, So if someone is happy with their knowledge that they already have to be able to set a limited company up or obviously register for self-employment, track their own figures, do their own tax returns. If they're happy to do all that and happy with what they're submitting, then that's fine. You get the other side of the coin though, where people are like, I haven't got a clue, I don't want to get it wrong, so let's get an accountant straight away. Coming from an accountant, it's always best to have that somebody there that you can rely on, you can ask obviously questions. But like I say, there's no right or wrong answer out. I could say to you, yes, get an accountant, sign up with me. But it's not about that. It's about the person. It's entirely up to you, what you feel you can manage. Because don't forget, if you're running a business, you've got the actual treatments that you're doing, which takes your time. You've got the booking systems, you've got the social media, you've then got your bookkeeping and accounting and filing of your tax returns as well. So there's a lot. So a lot of new businesses will try and do everything themselves to save money. And usually it costs them money in the long run for doing that. So my advice would be, if you feel you would like to give away a part of what you need to do in your day, all the hats, give the accounting hat away, because that's going to take a lot of pressure off you. Because you haven't got to worry about, God, when's my tax return due? When's this? When's that? I'm going to have someone there that I can ask these questions. Have I registered properly? Am I paying the right amount of tax? Or do I need to be saving for tax? You've got someone there to ask pretty much from the start. You know what I mean? Maybe it's worth it.
You saying that though, I wish I'd got one earlier. I've had my accountant now, 3 years? And it's one of them, I wish I'd done it earlier because it's taken so much weight off me. I get that email that says, hey, it's time to do all this, blah, blah, blah. This is what I need. And I'm like, right, quick, go. Do you know what? I'm going to get it done. My tax return's done for this year.
Wait.
I'm done. He's done it. Now I know I've got to pay this much till by January. It's been a case of it's taken such a massive weight off my shoulders because I'm thinking, oh God. And then it's remembering, oh, Sammy, did you remember to get your phone bill? Can I have your phone bill? You've not sent me that. Or, I would have then forgotten to then add that. And then it would be, oh no, I've forgotten to add this, that, or the other. And it's made my life so much easier. So I personally think it was, it's an expense. Yes, you have to pay for an accountant because they're still doing a job at the end of the day. But at the same time, it saves you so much admin and time.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. And I think obviously depending what obviously service you have, obviously from your accountant, some you'll speak to once a year, and that's fine. Some you'll have more of like a monthly communication with. It all depends as well. So again, every client's different, every business is different. I have some clients that are happy to speak to me once a year. I have some that sort of email once a week, or they want more hands-on from us. So again, it can take that real big pressure away. And I speak to so many beauty business owners, and they're also, thank God I've spoken to you, and this is like a huge weight, and I feel better now. And even just by talking to someone for 5 minutes, you can make their day so much better. Just by obviously reassuring and giving your advice, and it just takes that pressure away. Because if you're having such a day and you're like, this has gone bad, this person's cancelled me, obviously child's sick, but I've got to file my tax return, you'd be like, oh my God. So if I got my tax return out of the way, that's one big issue that I've not got to deal with. You know what I mean? So that's one thing out of the way. So it can really help. So, but it is a personal choice. When you get one, definitely.
Because I think I used to do spreadsheets and stuff all the time, and it was always very much just inputting it all the time, at the end of every day, because I'd forget, 100% forget, and then it would be like, oh my God. And I think I was looking into QuickBooks and is it Zero and things like that, and I'm like, oh my God. Where do I start? Have I put the right information in? That's what I found having the accountant made so much more sense in my business because, it just saves so much time.
It does, yeah. And I think if you're looking at, obviously some people are thinking about using QuickBooks Zero, or obviously like a spreadsheet, or obviously versus having an accountant. Well, it all coincides really. So if you've got Zero, that's who I use. I've got some clients on obviously QuickBooks. It's a personal preference. I prefer Zero. So, if you've got the software, that's amazing. It does take that away from you having to input everything. I have some clients that have got zero, but they still do a spreadsheet. They still like to track their KPIs and see what's working in their business as well. But HMRC are trying to move over to a more digital platform anyway. That's coming in next year for some business owners. So I think if you're really wanting to set up right from the start and obviously grow your business, I would definitely say get ahead of the game by getting software, Xero, QuickBooks. If you bank with NatWest or Metal, they offer you free agent as part of the obviously business account package as well, which is really good. Yeah, from the start, definitely a software now. I know it's a bit more of an expense as well, but it's going to help you in the long run. Yeah. So what I offer for my clients now, we do like a bookkeeping package as well. So we say, right, we're going to obviously do your bookkeeping for you. We're going to let you know what tax to put away every month. You're going to get like a monthly email from me or obviously one of the team. And all you need to do is pay for the Xero, we use, which is a bit cheaper at the moment. And then obviously link your bank account up, and then we'll go in every month. We'll do the bank reconciliation for you. We'll provide you with a profit and loss. And on top of that, obviously we'll do your tax returns for you as well. So we offer like a package that's what we do. And it has gone down so well. It really has. And it seems to help business owners, and it may feel a bit scary having to initially pay out that monthly fee, but in the long run, it's going to really help you because you're not having to worry about your accounts. Now, you can go down the spreadsheet road. You can provide your accountant your spreadsheet once a month, once a year as well, and that's fine. It depends what time you have, and it depends on how hands-on you want to be as well within your business. So there's a few options, but eventually everybody is going to have to go digital. Everybody who's self-employed is going to have software, and that's going to be in full effect by 2028.
Yeah, because I think next year I'm doing it so we're getting together every 3 months instead of like every 6. So that we're doing it every 3 months, getting everything together to make it easier by the end of the year.
Yeah, so if your turnover's over 50,000 as a self-employed person, as of April next year, you are going to have to file 4 tax returns a year and 1 final tax return a year. So the 4 are obviously reporting tax returns.
Yeah.
And the last one is going to be like the main tax return that we would usually do. So you've got to have software. It can't be spreadsheets anymore. It's got to be like, say, Xero, QuickBooks, Sage, and your accountant is then going to have to file 4 reporting tax returns, which is going to cost you more in fees, I imagine. So again, there's big changes coming up. But so 2026 is going to be turnover for 50,000. 27 is going to be turnover of 30,000. And then 2028 is going to be 20,000, which is probably going to be every single person that's self-employed. It's not going to be really difficult for anyone to earn £20,000 a year. If you think about how much you charge, for nails on average, £40, £50, let's just say, an hour appointment, you work 8 hours a day, you work 5 days a week. If you were fully booked and 8 hours, you know what I mean, you'd be turning over some really decent money. So it can soon creep up on you. So again, money management, tracking your figures is really important for like the next sort of stages that are coming with HMRC and tax.
Yeah. No, that is good because I think a lot of people don't realise what's changing, like national insurance changed, all of those sort of things.
Yeah.
It's like a lot has changed, and like being honest, like from your point of view, like an accountant can actually help massively, like whether it be some people don't even want to talk about their finances. They're like ashamed to talk about their finances, and that's the problem.
Yeah. Oh, no. Like I say, you shouldn't be. I say to every single person that I ever speak to, whether they sign up to me or not, when we have like a call, I say, you can tell me anything, ask me anything. Don't think it's a stupid question, because if everyone was doing it, it would be easy. That's what I say. First rule in obviously business, in any business. If it was easy, everyone would be doing it. 2, I could not do your job. I would not have a clue how to do a set of nails. Absolutely not. I can't even paint my own normally. Never mind do all the little jazzy bits and all that. So that's like me coming into your place of work thinking that I can do someone's like nails. It's not going to happen. So if you're asking me a question, feel comfortable, because I couldn't do your job. So it works both ways. So I always say, don't ever feel like you can't ask a question, because you can. And that's how what relationship you should have with your accountant. You shouldn't feel like you can't ask any questions or feel stupid. that's the main thing. Like, so you shouldn't feel stupid.
I also think it's the things like just being able to speak to you and be like, oh my God, have I given you this? Or not feeling embarrassed. Like, I've sent you like all my bank statements. Can you help find out what I need? Because I've got lost and I'm confused. Or, like
Yeah.
it's the little things. It's being able to speak to them and not be embarrassed by it. I think,
Absolutely. And I find what helps as well that I send out obviously emails every couple of days, to people that are on my mailing list. And one of the main emails that we were sending out during the first part of April was about tax returns and what you need to provide us with and things like that. Some people got a little bit overwhelmed by it, I'll be honest, and didn't like it. That's fine. Thank you for the feedback. But others loved it. Like, thanks, Jem. This is what I needed. I needed that push. I needed that email to be able to, know what I need from you, that sort of stuff. So it does work. I think that, like, obviously communication, and then I've got clients, oh my God, Jem, I'm so sorry, I've not done this. I'm like, it's fine. Just send me this and this. You've added to the list, and we'll get in touch with you as soon as we can. That's sort of how it works.
oh, hang on. I've got 1 minute left. Oh, it's like 1 minute remaining. Hang on. I am literally mid-flow of, I don't know why it stopped. But yeah, I want to say thank you. I'm trying to, but it's like it's logged me out, and then I'm trying to log back in. It's like you need to two-phase authentication shite. God damn it! Why have you logged me out? Stupid bloody technology. Like seriously, I just literally got a notification. Like I'm like, what? What do you mean? Well, it's fine. Oh, I'm back in. I'm back in. I think we should be okay. But no, I do genuinely think that that we all should have one in reality.
Say everyone's different. Everyone will, know. Everyone's different. So it's up to you. You can do your tax returns yourself. And that's fine. People will choose that. You'll get people that just want to hand it over to an accountant. I'm not interested, and then you'll get people that are in the middle. So, like I say, I speak to so many beauty business owners, and every single conversation is obviously different, and everyone's got different expectations and different needs and things like that, and that's fine. It is just part of it. That's like like obviously your clients that come to you to your salon to get the nails done, whatever it is. No client is going to be the. So I would say opening a business bank account.
Yes.
Definitely, that would be the first thing that I would do, like the money tip, just because it just makes things so much easier. And then if you're having to use software as well, you don't want to be linking that up to your personal bank account because you can have your Tesco shopping on there or whatever. Do you know what I mean? So a top tip, definitely, you register your business, open a business bank account. Definitely, those the first two things that I would do. So important. And then after that, like I say, decide if you're going to get an accountant and decide on obviously software or it's a spreadsheet, like sort of road, which way you're going to go with it. But yeah, that's what I would definitely say.
I think that is good because I didn't have one for ages because I couldn't get a business bank account as a nail technician. It was really, really hard because they were like, no, sorry, we don't support nail salons or nail bars. And I'm like, I'm not a nail bar.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was really hard to start with. But once I got one, it was like, it's been fine.
Yeah. I think most clients would find it easier to get, like, obviously Monzo, Tide, what's the other one? Metal, actually. I think those are the ones. Starling is a really difficult one to get, actually, yeah. So you can get your online ones, which are great, but that's obviously your high street ones are probably really a lot difficult to get now, aren't they? High street banking for some reason, or it takes a lot of time. It's not quick. And that's the difference with the online banks. I know you can't go into branch but it all depends again. As long as you try and get one, that is one of my biggest bits of advice. As hard as it may be, just keep trying. Just keep trying. Definitely.
Next question. Can an accountant actually help us make more money, or is it just about sorting tax and staying legal?
I would say yes, because I will sometimes speak to a client who's really struggling with obviously profit and loss, and they don't seem to be making any money. They can't understand why. And then when we look into it, it's because they are getting paid and then transferring themselves straight away, and they're not money managing again, and they don't understand why they've got no money. So I'm like, right, let's break this down. Let's look at your next month. What potential revenue have you got in May? What are your overheads for that month? And in a perfect world, no one would cancel. You'd have all this income, you'd have your expenses, and this is what is left. That is what you can pay yourself as a wage. So that's the first thing that I advise, because if you're just taking money willy-nilly, not knowing what's coming in or out, then you're gonna just feel like you were working for nothing, you know?
Yeah.
That is what I always advise. I also advise um, looking at all your expenses. Are you paying for things that you're not using anymore? We've all been obviously guilty of that. Like you've got a subscription to whatever it may be, and you're not using it anymore. If you're subscribing to Canva and you're using it for your social media, or you're using it to put together an ebook, an online course, perfect. Pay the £10 a month, whatever it is. But if you're not using it, why would you pay out for something that you're not using? And that also goes for obviously suppliers. You know, when was the last time you looked at what other people were using? Is there something that you could change? Are you charging enough? So yeah, so most accountants should help you with things like that.
Mhm.
A lot don't. Again, it depends on the accountant. It depends on how they present their business, whether they want to be really hands-on and offering advice. You know, some accountants are very much do your tax return and that is it. That's
Yeah.
you know all you're getting. So again, it all depends. No accountant is the same. I'm not the same. So obviously we've got an accountant right across the road from where I am, and me and him are two completely separate businesses. You know, we don't do. He's very old school. He's been there for like 100 years or something. Do you know what I mean? So he's very old school. He's probably got the clients that he's always had and sort of been passed down to their sons and daughters and that sort of thing, you know? Whereas my business is obviously completely different. The way that I run my business, I'm very much out there on obviously social media, giving advice, having calls, like obviously free calls. I offer Zooms. I've got a Facebook group that I do a live in, you know, things like that. So it depends on who you go with. So like I say, some accountants will just do what they are obviously required to do, which is keep you compliant. Other accountants will approach it differently. So again, it all depends. All depends. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, no, I think you're right, because I've met people that have different types of accountants, and it's all different.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. Question 7. What about the girls who feel totally overwhelmed or even a bit ashamed of their finances, where their finances are at? What would you say to them?
I would say that everybody has to start somewhere. But if you just imagine if you spoke to someone that was a millionaire, they've not always been a millionaire. They started, unless they were given it to them, obviously. But we're talking about us working
Yeah.
class people. We weren't born with money in the bank. We started a business with nothing. So everyone has to start somewhere. So if you're seeing someone, oh my God, she's got this, she's got that, she's got a Range Rover, she's going on all these holidays and stuff like that. That's not about being successful. That is about showing or putting out there that you're successful. It's not about that. It's about being successful. And there's a saying that someone once said, you can look rich or you can be rich. And those are the differences. That's to say, so you can be successful or you can look successful. So people think that being successful is about having the Range Rover parked outside, the 5-bedroom house with a swimming pool, you know, the 10 holidays a year, things like that. Yes, it is nice to have all those things, but that doesn't mean you're successful. It probably means that you're in a lot of debt as well. Do you know? Let's be honest. You can look at someone and they could just look normal, like me and you. Do you know what I mean? Just really chilled out, and they've got really successful businesses, but they're not putting it out there. Like I drive like a Kia Ceed. You know what I mean? I love my car. It's great. I haven't got a big, massive house. I've got like a 2 up, 2 down. Do you know what I mean? So I could have a Range Rover sat outside, and I could be doing this and doing that. Yes, I do like to travel. So if you do see me on social media, I am traveling quite a bit. But that's what I work for. That's my
That's
sort
your
of
luxury time.
happy place. That's my thing. Yeah, that was always my goal to be able to travel the world. So, but yes, so don't be worried about if you're just starting out, if you're struggling. That's fine. Everybody has to start somewhere, so don't be feeling embarrassed. If you're feeling overwhelmed, then it's time to sort of take a step back and see, right, what's going on. You can look busy or you can be busy. That's the difference of that. So it's all about sort of planning your day if you can. It's sometimes difficult. If you know you've got a gap in your diary, and what could I do with that? Could I use that just to sit here, just scrolling, just doing nothing? Or could I use that to maybe schedule some content? Could I record some content? Could I put like like email marketing together and get that sent out, you know, things like that. So it's about using your time as well. And I'm not saying that's everything doesn't run smooth all the time, but that's just like an example. If you're feeling overwhelmed, take a step back and say, right, and you know, how can I change this? Obviously we're all busy. We're all, you know, obviously being a woman and things like that. You might have the kids, you might have this, and sometimes it is obviously difficult. So just got to take a step back and say, right, I'm not going to get stressed about this. I can only do what I can do. Do you know what I mean?
Mhm.
And there's a book that's out in there as well. It's like obviously let them. So if you're having a bad day or you've got a client that's complained, let them do it. You know,
Mhm.
not going to please everyone. If something really bad's happened and you know someone's kicking off or whatever it may be, because you do get it in obviously beauty industry. People like obviously pay deposits and then cancel obviously last minute and then obviously demanding the money back and things like that. But if you've got policies in place, then you stick to your policies and say, no, this is my policy, blah, 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 sort of thing. If they want to kick off and threaten to do this, let them do it. That's, you know what I mean? And that's sort of like the mindset that you need to have. If you are overwhelmed, just try and take a step back and see, right, what can I do to stop this overwhelm? What's making me so overwhelmed? And 9 times out of 10, it's about sort of structuring your day and
Mhm.
start the morning as like obviously as you can, as sort of chilled as you can. If you think about it, if you've got children as well as running a business and you don't get everything ready the night before, so get the uniforms out, get the socks out, the pants out, the shoes, that sounds silly, get the lunch boxes ready, for example. If you had to get up in the morning and sort, let's say, 3 children out, but you didn't have anything prepared, it's going to be all chaotic, isn't it? Whereas if you like prep the night before, it's going to make your
Easier.
morning so much more easier. It doesn't always go to plan. You know, say one child might be sick or whatever it may be, but if you can try and plan ahead, it's going to make your life so much more easier as well. You know, like I do, I always get my clothes out for like the next day what I'm wearing. I know it sounds silly, but if I don't do that, my morning is all over the place. Because I'm like, oh, I haven't got my clothes out, I've not done this, and then I'm just like sort of rushing around, you know. So I think that is a really good point to make. Don't be embarrassed about finances. Don't compare yourself to other people. Like I say, everyone's got to start somewhere, and everyone's business journey is different, and that's what you need to remember.
Yeah, like 100,000,000%, I wasn't where I am now 11 years ago.
Exactly. Yeah.
When I started my business, I was a stay-at-home mum, like literally babies, and
Yeah.
so I need to go and get a job, but I can't get a job because if I go and get a job somewhere else, I can't afford the childcare. I've got no family nearby to help me with the childcare. I'm on my own. What do I do? Husband's like, right, let's think of something that you can do from home. I was getting my nails done and I was like, do you know what? I absolutely love doing nails. I'm going to become a nail technician. So I went and looked into different courses, got onto a course that was in Dartford, and it was like a 6-month MVQ level 2. Ended up getting pregnant halfway, like, and I was like, uh-oh. And then it was like a complicated pregnancy. I could only do like half the course before I like literally couldn't do it anymore. So I was like gutted. But I covered all the manicures, pedicures, all there was so much that I covered before, but I couldn't get the qualification. And I was like, oh my God, like I've done all this work and I don't even get a qualification out of it. I can't do this. I'm like heavily like pregnant at this point. So complicated. It was a very complicated pregnancy. I was like, what do I do? So one of the teachers that were on the course was like, right, just go and do a day course. We know that you are capable of doing it. Go and get that day qualification, get your diploma so you can start because you know exactly what you're doing. You've proved to us that you can do it. If I was to do you an exam now, you would 100% pass. And I was like, okay, like they helped me out with this because of the fact I was like, I can't just do a day course.
Yeah.
But then I've done loads of other courses on top of that since. So it was like just to get my foot in the door. So over the 11 years, I've done multiple different one-to-ones. I've done like conversion courses, you know, just to try and make sure that I am the best that I can be at what I do. And I had no money. We literally had to do it on the minimum. I was what, 24?
So yeah, so I bet minimum wage was tough.
Yeah, so low back then. Like, you know, we're living on one wage in a 3-bedroom house, and we were like, oh my God, how are we going to afford everything? But I'm just so glad that I did it then and not now because the cost of everything now is just mental.
Yeah,
Like,
it is.
but my big advice, I think my big advice to anyone starting now is buy cheap, buy twice. 3 times, 4 times. Like, if you're going into this, buy decent quality products because you're gonna ruin your reputation before you even started.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
So it is
So,
talking like with finances, yes, okay, some things are a lot more expensive, but actually they last a lot longer, they're better quality, you know. Like I spend a lot more money on my gloves than I do
yeah.
because of the fact that they protect me more than split within 2 seconds. So
Exactly.
things, it's like, yes,
Yeah.
okay, I spend more on that, but actually they're better quality, so they actually would last more of the service than
Yeah.
like you put one on, you slice it with a nail file, that's it, next glove, another
Yeah.
one put on, and then you end up
Yeah,
spending more because you're
absolutely.
using more. But yeah, our last question. Oh my
Yeah.
God! So let's bust a myth. What's the one
Okay.
thing people think about accountants or business finances that just is not true?
So a lot of people think you have to be earning loads of money to have an accountant, and we've already spoke about it that you
Mm,
don't. That's what people think you have to be earning like a set amount, like 40 grand or 30 grand, or people think that you have to have a certain amount of money to settle a limited company up, and you don't. So I think I don't know where this information comes from, or it's just people just think that's what it is. You have to be earning loads of money to get
mm,
obviously the best from an accountant, and you don't. It can benefit you from the start, it can benefit you at any point within your business journey. As we spoke about, is it best to go in at the start? Probably, but you don't have to. But you certainly don't have to be earning sort of big money to be have help and support from an accountant. I think another one would be that accountants are really expensive. Now I'm not saying that some are, because they are. But again, when I was looking at opening my business, I thought I'm going to try something new, and I started like a monthly sort of payment, for clients, and that has gone down so well. And you don't have to be charging silly amounts of money, to clients, because I just don't think it. For one, for me, morally, it's not right. I know some accountants that will charge triple what I charge. I would do exactly the same. I think some accountants, like I say, some will charge a lot of money, but I don't. I think people think it's going to be really, really expensive. And when someone comes through to me and asks for a quote, they're like, "Oh my god!" Like, we get so much value for that,
yeah.
and it's not going to break the bank. We're talking if you broke it down into like a weekly fee for like a
Mhm.
tax return, you're probably looking about £6-7 a week.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
It's a lot, really, when you think
Isn't
about
a
it.
lot when you think about it. So it is like I say, it can be. I wouldn't be scared of talking to an accountant just because you think it's going to cost you a fortune. That would be like another myth as well, but it's going to cost you like thousands. If you've got a limited company and you've got 20 employees and you're VAT registered, then yeah, your accountancy fees are going to be pretty high. But if you're just starting out and you're a sole trader, just starting your business, then you might be surprised at the cost. I always work mine that, it'll cost you £7 a week. What can you really buy for £7 now? Not a lot, not a lot. And that's where that I had, like, oh god, yeah, you put it like that, it's not so bad. You know what I mean? So, and you're sort of paying for a service, you're paying for it over the 12 months rather than one big invoice at the end of the year. Some people prefer that. 90% of my clients will pay monthly because they feel that it's better for them, for obviously cash flow purposes. It's not so much of a big chunk, and they know that they're sort of attaining services as such,
Mhm.
throughout the year. So yeah, so I would say that. It's not going to cost as
That's
much
good.
as you think.
No, I see. I pay for the full for the year, but I think I would prefer to pay it monthly, because then it's a
Yeah,
case of like I know how much it is at the end of the year because it's a set amount.
yeah,
But it's a case of if I was to break it down, either that or I just put it in a separate little pot account
yeah.
thing. That's
Exactly,
for my
yeah.
accountant.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
I like that. I think breaking it down like that makes it so much more like people are
Yeah.
like, but it's actually not really that bad.
Not that bad, no. When you put it like that, so it works for me. It works for me, my clients.
But I'm gonna say a massive thank you anyway, because this has literally been so unreal.
Oh,
This
I'm
is what I'm
glad. I'm
talking
glad.
about. Like a lot of people that watch this, listen to this, whatever, because I'm gonna probably stick this on Spotify as well as YouTube, as well as Facebook, as well as Instagram, and the old TikTok. You know,
Yeah, so obviously let me know and I'll share it onto my platform as well, my Instagram and things like that. And
tag you in it. I
yeah,
will tag you in it.
perfect.
What I'm going to do is on like the main YouTube, I will put all your links and everything underneath, so
Yeah,
there'll be a link to
amazing.
your Facebook, etc.
Yeah.
And then obviously you can get in touch with anyone who comes through. Honestly, I think it's been brilliant. What else was I going to say? Oh, yes, I was going to say keep shining, stay bougie, and remember that we've all got this in this business world. We can do it, we can smash it, and let's do it. You know, I think
Yes.
we all need to support each other, like small businesses. You know, we're all in this game together at the end of the day, and there doesn't need to be competition. I think
No.
it's like healthy competition, obviously, but at the same time, it's like just be kind.
Absolutely.
Oh,
Yeah. That would be a good note to leave this on. Just be kind, because you don't know what anyone's going through and things like that. You don't know. I'll be completely honest with you now. Literally, before I jumped on the Zoom, I got some really, really crappy news, and so but you wouldn't think it if I'd not told you. You wouldn't have thought that. So you just don't know what someone's going through. You know, behind. I will probably finish this Zoom, and I'm probably going to have a good cry, and that's fine. That's
yeah,
okay to do that. Do you know what I mean? But like I say, if you're kind, because you just don't know what someone's going through, they could be putting on a huge front, and behind the scenes, something really bad's happened, or they have to have you just need a hug.
yes. Here's a virtual hug.
Yes. But yes, if anyone wants to get in touch, please let me know. If you need anything else from me as well, Sammy, just let me know. I'm happy to jump on again, and
Yeah,
whenever you need me, or yes, I'll do like a live in the group or whatever it is, just please reach out. I'm here, you know, if anyone wants any help and advice. I have got, like I say, a few weeks. I've got 8 weeks off work from July, but the team will be here anyway. But like I say, my diary's open now for May and June. If anyone wants to book in a call, they're absolutely free. Yeah, even if it's just like a few questions, no obligation to sign up at all. Just get some help and advice.
love this. Thank you very much. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day, and thank you for doing this for me. And sending you a massive hug because I
Thank
can't
you very much.
in real life.
Thank you so much. I'll speak to you soon.
I'll speak to you later.
Bye bye.